As he likes to do, Jared calls in with a question about Game of Thrones. As our Game of Thrones rewatch continues here, either live on the Blathering or later on Casterly Talk, subscribe to both. If you're on one, go check out the other. Because Game of Thrones, exciting news. Night of Seven Kingdoms already renewed for a season 2, and House of Dragon coming back in the summer. So 2026 Casterly Talk will be active. But Jared, we're looking at season 7, episode 3, The Queen's Justice. Who made this episode possible?
Oh yeah, no, we got D&D doing some writing duties for the first time this season. Lore coming back for directing, and
Lord, okay,
yep, and holy Majibus, this was a packed episode. So there's so much you could easily get lost in talking to. So on that note, I kind of just was like, you know who I want to focus on? Title character Cersei, getting that sweet justice revenge. Just
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say just everything coming up aces for Cersei that episode.
Yeah, no, absolutely. An episode titled "The Queen's Justice," and we have 3 queens on display, and their versions of justice: Cersei, Daenerys, and I'll throw the Queen of Thorns in there, Olenna Tyrell, in her final episode, and one of the greatest send-offs of all time. But that's also about a form of justice. Yeah. It's fascinating. This episode is really packed, and it's packed with great conversations, great one-on-ones, which are, of course, the staple of Game of Thrones. I think the action and the dragons and all the things that the show got the headlines for, I think what made the show were the one-on-one Robert Baratheon, Cersei Lannister conversations, and this episode has a ton of them, and I think get forgotten when celebrating the show overall. So what is your favorite form of justice, Jared? Is it Cersei kissing Tyene Sand and making Ilaria Sand watch her slowly die?
Yeah, no, I think you can't top Cersei for just really, because given that great speech, she even explains the reasoning, like, how do I get just the perfect amount? You know, the too quick of the head crush, or, you know, just, and then not even saying it, just letting her figuring it out in the moment with the kiss. And Qyburn coming in with the cure and all the info. It's like, how does you figure that out, Qyburn? You are a clever man.
Anton Lesser, obviously one of our favorites, and loved him in Andor as part of guest as well. And this is this rewatch is also about going back to when I first kind of took these episodes in, and I remember the very first viewing. I think I was by myself, or maybe I was with Grace. I can't remember, but like I just remember Cersei walks into the jail cell, and like I was like, they really messed up her lipstick, man. It's really I felt so dumb. Cersei would have defeated me. This is one of the things that I obviously love about the show, but love about Lena Headey and what she brought to this role. Yes, she is vindictive. She is vengeful. She is cruel. She's a monster, as Olenna Tyrell says to Jaime Lannister. Great conversation at the end, too, as we said, but also great conversation about stuff with Jaime. But watching this scene, and I like Ilaria Sand. I like Tyene Sand. I like the folks of Dorne. But, Jared, you're kind of oddly on her side, much like we were at the end of season 6. She is a monster, but some of this vengeance or the seeking of this vengeance or this justice is kind of earned, and this is why she is such a cult favorite for a lot of fans.
Oh, 100%. This is righteous courtside justice right here. Like, you know, lawyers got involved and like, no, this one's okay. You know, it's just you're right. We can't. It's like you said earlier in the blathering tonight. You know, you don't trust Marjorie Taylor Greene, but you're going to let her take swings at the dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you got Cersei's justice. And then on the other side, you got Dany Jon. It's some great stuff. Again, this is why, you know, I think this episode is where the show, this season, speeds up a little bit too fast. And I don't, and in retrospect, it's not just simply, I remember a lot of people complain, and this is when I was over on Collider for season 7, that suddenly Davos and Jon are at Dragonstone, and you have the great line with Davos being like, "Here's Jon Snow, the King of the North." Love all the exchange. But to me, the speed of the show wasn't that. Like, I didn't need to see them traveling. The speed of the show was, I think, the end of this episode with 2 great battles in two places that we wanted to spend time on for the previous 6 seasons, which is Highgarden, and the Casterly Rock. And then we have this artistic choice to have Tyrion basically describe the battle at Casterly Rock, and then you think, wow, they're winning, and then the reveal is that they lose, and then Euron's navy is already there and has done this great swim around the bottom of Westeros, and then you go to Highgarden, and you don't get to see the Battle of Highgarden, and I think I'm okay with it now, years later, going, yeah, I think they made an artistic choice. We didn't need, how many more battles did we need to see? That wasn't the point. We needed to get to the Olenna stuff. We needed to move that stuff forward. But I think that's where the speed of this season starts to pick up and starts to rub up against some people's desires. Did you experience it at all watching it?
A little bit. I'm with you most of the way. Like the boat ride, I didn't need, a random character building conversation about the time Davos befriended a frog or something like that.
I might be a crabber, but I'll tell you this about frogs.
Right.
Yeah.
But the one thing I kind of was a little disappointed on was the lack of even just a CGI look around of both castles, Highgarden and the Rock. Like, just they're beautifully described in the books as being very upscale, money well spent castle. So seeing something more of that would have been nice. Again, didn't need the battle, but just a nice swoop in, would have been a nice.
Well, I am one who's always, on the, I have it, back here, but it's like the Throne, the show version of the Throne, obviously very different than the super elevated over the top book Throne, and it just wouldn't have worked. It would have been silly. So I think they made a great compromise, and I love what they do in House of Dragon with all the swords out there. I think that's a great way to look at it. But I do think, I think there was a little bit of like, that was it with Casterly Rock, a very important place, a place we had spent so much time hearing about, and it's not even as high, it's this and that. And again, I don't throw in any darts at the producers, anything. I'm just like, it wasn't the focus. I got it. But I think as a fan, I wanted a little bit more. So I did feel that in this episode.
Yep. And I think it's one of those small, I hate to say lessons learned because I love GOT and everything it did. But like, for example, in House of the Dragon, when we got to Storm's End, they gave us that beautiful shot in an actual storm. Like, again, could have easily not have used that shot, just have him fly in. But that was like a very nice way to set that scene.
Yeah, it's almost as the show, which did have a big budget, but not an unlimited one, had to make a choice or something about it. But I think it, does. In the end, it's a small grievance for me, but I get it now. But some amazing scenes in this episode. Dany and Jon facing off, like I said, and getting to know each other, and then Jorah. I love the Jorah and Sam Tarly scene with Broadbent's Maester. Doing the whole thing and not rewarding him, all the stuff.
Your reward is you didn't get expelled.
Yeah, that's a reward. Jim Broadbent is so amazing. And then even the Cersei stuff with Alaria Sand, and then leading all the way to the Jaime Olenna stuff. It's remembered because of Olenna's Diana Riggs, the late Diana Riggs send-off, which is one of the great mic drops of all time. Tell Cersei it was me. But the conversation she's having with Jaime is important. He's admitting that she's a monster maybe, but she's my monster. And there's a lot of points, and I didn't write them all down, and I apologize to my audience here, but there's a lot of points in this episode where, like, even with Tyrion talking to Dany, there's a lot of things Jon's even saying about, you don't want to burn the city. Like, they're kind of saying this stuff's going to happen. And it's all about, can these characters untangle that path a little bit? And I'm not saying if you don't like season 8 that gives it a pass. I'm just saying they were working towards some of this stuff. And it becomes clearer on rewatch. And this episode had a lot of that for me.
100% agree with that. It's, if you don't like the season, that's fine. But don't come telling me all these things happened out of nowhere and don't make story sense. It was always there, especially with Dany since season 1. You could have called that, ending with her in season 8, from the start.
Yeah, and definitely from season 3 is where they always say they locked in. But yes, there's, and I wish I wrote them down. I was just kind of soaking up the scenes on this episode. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of those little
Yeah,
moments.
no, there's one last small, just fun moment that I enjoyed for this episode was the measuring contest between Euron and Jamie in the throne room when he presents the sand snakes to Cersei.
We call this the finger in the bum scene. Yes.
That's just go ahead.
Euron, we talked about it on a previous episode. Euron is a little bit of an amalgamation of some of the just Greyjoy brothers overall, Balon's brothers overall. It's kind of it's its own take. I don't know if there's a, I sometimes wonder if there was actually room for this character at this point, but any of those kind of little grievances go away with some of the just over the top performances, the moments that we get from this character. I am okay with it in the end. He brought some life. Didn't always need his life, but he brought some life.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So no, next week we're looking at the spoils of war. Great battle scene. Speaking of battles, and look forward to speaking that one with you, my friend.
Can't wait to rewatch that one. One of my favorite episodes. One of my favorite viewing experiences on the first time that one came across. And we do have Mark Gaddis's what's his Tycho from Iron Bank there. That great scene. And that sets us up for next week there. You need some money. So that's why they go to Highgarden. What happens to that money will be part of next week's discussion. Thank you, Jared, for your Game of Thrones conversation and question.
Always. You everybody stay safe. Have a good time.